Hey Flying Bird, this is Kevin O here, and I'm going to be teaching you about political systems and how they can affect the global business in general. So first we got to talk about political spectrum right here. So we have totalitarian at the top and democratic at the bottom. Totalitarian basically means that the government has all the power. The power is situated all the way to the top by just one or a few people. Democratic means that the power is given to the people, so the majority rules the country. And on the left side right here we have liberal, and on the right side we have conservative. Liberals generally believe in big governments, higher taxes, but also a lot of social programs to create social inequality, while conservatives believe in the opposite: small government, smaller taxes, but also not too many social services. And in this slide, we see in this picture we have another spectrum that describes the government control of an economy. So right now here we have let's on this side here we have capitalism. This is sort of like this is a market economy. So basically means that the economy has a low degree of government control and a low level of social services. So countries like the United States. On the other side we have command economies, which have a high degree of government control and a high level of social services. Now most countries actually fit in mostly in between. The United States, for example, fits more on the right side here, while European countries fit more on the left side here. And then when we talk about public versus private, public basically means that the government pretty much fully or mostly owns the industry. So basically means that due to government funding, the prices for the goods is kept low, such as public transportation. And basically the public industries help increase social equality, but the downside is that the quality of goods may not be as high in private industries. On the other hand, we have private industries which are owned by the people, and there's no government interference and very low regulations. And the prices are determined by the market, by supply and demand. So the quality of goods is usually higher, but they can be too expensive for the less fortunate, such as healthcare in the United States. Now we'll talk about how governments dictate the economy. So one of the biggest things that governments use to keep their domestic products cheaper are tariffs, which are taxes on imported goods, usually to make domestic products cheaper and more competitive. And because of that, most countries kind of did not trade a lot with each other. That was until free trade agreements were introduced, which basically guaranteed cooperation between two countries to reduce trade barriers. And what that did was allow a lot more trade to be done between two countries or more, such as the NAFTA, North American Free Trade Agreements. So because of that, United States, the three biggest partners are Canada and Mexico, and then we also have China here. Because of NAFTA, Canada and Mexico have become the two largest trade partners of the U.S. But of course, history does have an effect on current governments. Not everyone has agreed to do free trade agreement like the European Union or NAFTA. For example, North Korea refuses to do large-scale trading with any country except China, even though they have a sizable population. North Korea also tends to have a lot of political tensions with a lot of countries, which also reduces their ability to trade. We also have South Korea, Japan, and China, that's probably the three biggest economic powerhouses in the Eastern Asia. They still do not have an FTA agreement because of territorial issues and a bad blood from World War II, because Japan, as we know, they invaded South Korea. They turned it into a colony, and they also invaded China during World War II. And even though relations have improved since then, it's still not perfect. And we also have the European Union, which was first started off as a European coal and steel community because they wanted to unify Europe after the devastation caused by World War II, and its principles later inspired the creation of the EU. So there we go. A lot of political systems do take a role in shaping how the global business works. What countries trade with, what countries do not trade with, and basically, in general, governments do have a lot of power in determining how global business works.